All right. Good evening, everyone. I'm Kate Downs with the Central New York Community Foundation. I'm a program manager there on the Community Grants and Community Investment team. I'm so glad you all have decided to give us a couple hours of your Wednesday evening to hear some four great proposals from local organizations that are hoping to improve childcare access in our community. And this topic was chosen by the community. So this is a very community-centered effort. And so we're here tonight to listen. Each organization will have 10 minutes to present their project idea. Everybody on the call, we have 5 minutes to ask questions. And how we'll do that is you can type the question you have in the chat. The Community Foundation staff will monitor that chat and then ask those questions at the end of that 10-minute presentation. And then tomorrow night, even more exciting, we are having our voting night and our award announcement. So that tomorrow night is when we hear who the winner is of the $75,000. And that will be in person at the Center for the Arts. However, you can vote online throughout the day. Polls open at 9 a.m., I believe. Yep. So if you're 14 and up and live in Cortland County, you can cast a vote for one of the four projects. So we're very excited. We can't wait to see, how everything goes and who the winner is. So tonight, while we're on the call, we're going to ask that if you're not speaking, that you stay muted. And if you have any questions, you can just drop those questions in the chat or, directly message one of us on staff. We're here to listen to each other, to share thoughts and ideas. Tonight is mostly a listening night, but we're also here to value and consider different perspectives. If you need to step away and take care of yourself, please do. This is a long haul, especially in the evening. So if you need water or dinner, please go get that. If you need a bathroom break, go ahead and take care of yourselves. We like to balance participation. So you'll see that we have an order of things and everyone shares and everyone gets to share their thoughts. And again, questions go in the chat and they will be shared at the end of each proposal. So why is the Central New York Community Foundation doing this participatory budgeting process? Well, in 2027, we are celebrating 100 years of supporting Central New York. It's part of our continuing impact, and we're launching a series of these participatory budgeting projects in the 5 counties that we serve. So far this year, we've done Oswego County, Madison County, Cortland is the third one, and then we have Cayuga County coming up next month. And we've done Onondaga County, or we have that coming up in the future. So it's really exciting to have this 5 county footprint where we get to make a direct impact with organizations that the community really identifies those needs. So, in our first 100 years, we built the foundation for that community impact. And over the next 100, we're building that impact together with all of you, helping us lead the way. So it's a really exciting time. Participatory budgeting, for those of you who weren't able to join us the first 2 nights, it is a really democratic process that is designed by all of you. I'm simply, guiding you along this path. So the first night, every table was facilitated by community leaders, and everybody in the room got to vote and chose that increasing access to childcare was, the priority. Session 2, community members came back, brainstormed ideas of what exactly that looks like, and that's how we came up with a letter of intent. Tonight is session 3, so we get to develop, or organizations have developed those proposals based on the letter of interest set by the community. And then tomorrow night is the voting where all the good, exciting things get to happen. So, yeah, does anybody have any questions? sorry, one last thing. So this is the letter of intent that the organizations completed. They met with Kiana, who's on the call, and shared their ideas, and she invited them to submit their proposals. So this was the framework that they all had. And without further ado, I'm going to kick off the presentations. And first, Bob Haight with the Cortland Area Chamber Foundation is going to hop on. I'm going to stop sharing. Okay, Bob.
And thank you very much, Kate. Just a quick thumbs up that you can see the first slide coming in presentation mode. Thank you so much. Good evening, everyone. As Kate mentioned, I'm Bob Haight. I'm president and CEO of the Cortland Area Chamber of Commerce, but also serve as executive director for the Cortland Area Chamber Foundation. Special thank you to the Central New York Community Foundation for the opportunity to present this plan to you, but also for recognizing that early childhood education is such a top concern for our community. So starting with why we're here. Cortland County currently has slots for less than 50% of the kids who desire those. We're working closely with the Child Development Council right now to try to get that exact number so we can talk about that even in more detail. It's a problem for families, but this is also a tremendous workforce problem. When employees do not have dependable, reliable early education for their children, they are tardy more often, they are absent more often, and when they're at work, they're less productive. And there's a second generation affected by this that we don't talk about enough. The children in the early childhood education programs today are tomorrow's workforce. Their first years are a period of extraordinary brain development, and early quality education helps them reach their potential. Parker gives us an opportunity to begin opening classrooms soon, grow to approximately 100 children, and ultimately serve 150 or more. So why Parker? Parker isn't just an available building. Parker has spent the previous 98 years educating our children. We have tremendous support from the neighborhood, from businesses, from Parker grads themselves to create this new purpose. We're not starting with a blank piece of paper. We've got ready-made classrooms, outdoor space, commercial kitchen, a gymnasium, all in a building designed to educate children. These classrooms want kids. The chamber didn't just discover early education because Parker became available. This is something that we've been working on and talking about for the past 13 years. We hear about it regularly from our 550 business members. Our board of directors made early childhood education our number one legislative priority. And the strategic plan for the chamber that was finished last fall named our number one goal was to create a chamber foundation, which would allow us to use the chamber's relationships and experience to tackle community problems. Parker is exactly the kind of opportunity we created this foundation to address. So Parker is ready. When Parker closed a few years ago, the city created a task force. That task force met with the neighbors, they met with individuals, they met with groups of business owners, and they came back to the city and said the number one recommendation is to put early education back into this school building. When we walk through it, we can see exactly why. Easily classrooms for 100 children, room to grow, the commercial kitchen I mentioned, the outdoor green space, a recently renovated gymnasium, and space for community programs as well. Right across the street, if you're familiar with it, is Suggit Park. More green space, the mature trees, an accessible playground, and a splash pad right there. The infrastructure is already here. This slide is so important to me because the Chamber Foundation is not trying to do this alone. We're bringing together organizations with the expertise to help us tackle this. So multiple conversations already with Capco, taking advantage of their early education expertise and their licensing, and their executive director, Greg Richards, is on this call with us today. Looking at the city who currently owns the building and wants to see early education there. The Office of Children and Family Services, OCFS, has been through the building with us. The Child Development Council, who is going to offer professional development for teachers all across our region to happen right at Parker. And both SUNY Cortland and TC3 partnering with us for that teacher training pipeline. The power of synergy, many strengths that you see on this slide, but one vision. We want kids back in Parker. So what will it take? We're not talking about having a study that we produce that sits on a shelf to collect dust. We're talking about doing the work to open the doors. A very important development that happened 2 weeks ago when OCFS came through Parker with us and said some of these classrooms could be licensed now. So what we're going to look at is while safe construction continues towards those first 100 slots, we want to begin opening classrooms as soon as possible. The $75,000 funds a dedicated project professional to coordinate all of this. The renovation, licensing, staffing, budgets, fundraising, and bringing all the organizations together. The person we're talking about is me. After 17 years as the chamber president, I already have relationships with the businesses, the donors, educators, our government officials, and the early education providers. If we were to bring in an outside consultant, they would have to spend time developing those relationships. We're ready to hit the ground running. Again, the goal is not to produce a report. The goal is to open the doors. Once open, we want to design this around the working families. We're talking about creating Parker to work with families the way that they live and work today, not an idealized 9 to 5 type scenario. So what that means is full day early childhood education, before and after school programs, programs for second shift employees, which is not happening anywhere, and a full day set of summer programming. We're already talking with multiple school districts and getting great feedback about providing transportation to and from. Parker can also become a place where parents receive resources and the early childhood educators, including those in their home-based centers from across the county, can continue learning with the professional development that they're required to get in order to keep their license up to date. So, of course, creating these slots brings up another challenge. Where did the teachers come from? So we've had conversations with TC3. We are in a perfect position to create a pipeline. So listen to this example. With a high school diploma, you can have your background check done and you can become a teaching assistant in Parker. While being a full-time teaching assistant, you can apply for and get accepted into an early childhood education program part-time at TC3. Now, because of SUNY Reconnect, that program will provide free tuition, fees, and books for that person working full-time. SUNY Cortland also their students will gain hands-on experience at Parker on their way to a bachelor degree. We've had those conversations. Our Child Development Council, again, providing the professional development not only for the Parker staff, but providers throughout the county. So Parker is not going to just consume early childhood education. We will be assisting in creating it. This one is going to be fun, and I think fun for all of us. Our immediate goal, of course, is to open Parker, quickly grow to 100 children, planned capacity of at least 150. But the opportunity is much bigger than Cortland. Communities across New York and the country face the same two problems we do. Not enough early childhood education slots and underused or school buildings going unused. As we continue to gather information, I've gotten wonderful advice from our partners in chambers across the state and country. One of the things that continues to come back is when you get that figured out, come to our community because we want to copy what you're doing. If Cortland gets this right, other communities are going to be ready to replicate. So, what that brings us to is what does success look like for this project? So tonight you're going to hear some great ideas from organizations. All of them really care deeply about our community. We're happy to be among that group. We're not asking you to believe in a dream. We're asking you to help turn a building, a community need, and a group of committed organizations into 100 early childhood education opportunities. We have $1.1 million already confirmed. It can only be used towards renovations. More momentum behind this project. We've already heard from multiple other people who want to contribute to this renovation. Once the planning phase is over, they're ready to jump. Their words to us were, we're going to help get you to the finish line. We can begin with several classrooms, grow to 100 kids, and we believe Parker can serve at least 150. At 150, it would be the largest early childhood education center in the county, and the work that we're doing now will tell us whether it can ultimately serve even more than that. That's the potential of this $75,000. It helps us put all these pieces together and open the doors. We're supporting working families, strengthening employers, investing in the workforce of today and the workforce of tomorrow. We strongly, strongly believe all of us together, we can get this right. Thank you.
Thanks, Bob. All
Okay, do you need
right.
me to stop sharing for questions?
You can leave this up for, well, you can stop sharing actually. Um, Paris, do you want to dive, or Kiana, do you want to dive into the questions?
I can start.
Go
The
ahead,
first
Paris.
one has a couple questions inside, so I'm gonna divvy it up to make sure everything gets touched on. So the first question is, how long would this project take?
Yeah, I wish I had a great answer. So when OCFS was there, they said to us, this was surprising to us, and I'm going to back up a little bit. Previously, when the school was being looked at, there was a long list of things that needed to be done. Some of those things have already been done, and it's incredible what's coming forward to now help this plan to the finish line. For example, we just learned about funding that can redo the elevator. We thought that was going to have to come out of our renovation budget that we were starting to put together. There's a totally separate fund that'll redo the elevator for us. So some of those types of things are happening. There's two boilers in the building. One of those boilers was completely renovated when the Cortland and Large City School District opened it back up for kindergartners this last year. So that work has been done. The roof is done. The windows are done. The bathrooms have been done. It's incredible. So OCF came through and they said this classroom, and they were pointing them out. These could be licensed now. What we have to figure out is we need some work that has to be done. So air conditioning, for example, some of the classrooms are going to need a separate egress directly to the outside. So what renovations can we do with kids in the building? So this fund will help us put all of those pieces together so we know. I wish I could give you a date and say, geez, January 1, we're going to have kids in the building. We just have to do a little more work before we know that for sure. What I can say very confidently is that within 12 months, we think we could get that building with 100 kids.
And I feel like you actually answered a couple of those follow-up questions, which was how long before the grant money actually sees fruition, but I believe you touched on that. And do you already have some funding, which you also went over? So that brings me to the last part of the question. Are those many businesses who see this as important, I believe on the slide with the logos, are they also contributing?
Contributing dollar wise,
I believe so.
each one of them is definitely going to be contributing expertise. Some of them will be contributing dollar wise as well.
Thank you. Um, I think there was clarification on the budget for your proposal, Bob. you said 75,000 would go to pay the person, the project manager. Is that solely for the person's salary, or?
Yeah, so what that will cover is 12-month period of time, about 60% of the salary with benefits. Yeah, in this, if I can just elaborate on that a little bit, it's been tremendous. We have reached out to 15 organizations so far, simply looking for the funding to do that piece, right? Pay the person that's going to put all of the pieces together. The most common answer we have gotten back is we can't help with that. After you have that piece done, come back to us because we want to help get this building underway with kids. So it's been extremely interesting to hear all of the people that want to see this happen and are getting behind us. And this is private foundations, these are individuals, and these are our government officials who are just lining up to assist us. This $75,000 has been the first chance where you have said, we can use the money to do that and make this happen.
Thanks. And I think there's one more comment or question rather that we can address in the time we have left. Um, can you talk about site control? Who is the owner and operator of the building? Is it the chamber or a new nonprofit?
Yeah, so I will say that in working with the Chamber Foundation Board, I would tell you everybody has left egos outside the room. The city currently owns the building. They are, and so I'm speaking a little bit for the city now, but they are willing to turn the building over once there's a solid plan in place that's going to be sustainable. Our idea is to make this sustainable for generations, right? We want to do everything the right way. So it's possible for the foundation, the Chamber Foundation, to own the building and work with a group like CAPCO, who's the licensing agency, and they are the early childhood education experts. So they could come in and run the school. It's also possible that the school could be owned by the licensing group and the Chamber Foundation could assist them in making it sustainable. At this point, our view is we're going to do the best thing to make it sustainable for the long term, and whichever answer that is.
Excellent. Thank you, Bob. Thanks everyone for your questions in the chat. That's great. And then next up is Bryn Carr from Cortland Collective Impact Initiatives. Go ahead and share your screen.
That working okay?
I don't see it,
Hmm.
but
Okay.
it might just be me. It's definitely just me. You're good, Bryn.
All right, everybody else can see my screen?
Not yet.
Oh, okay. What is going on? Give me a second. Share. Here we go. All right, how about now? Good enough? Excellent. Sorry, I can't see thumbs up and my screen at the same time for a second, but I saw them now. Okay.
You're good. Thanks, Bryn.
Thank you. I'm Bryn Carr, Director of Cortland Collective Impact Initiatives. I'm really excited to be here tonight, not only to present, but also to hear all these other proposals. We as presenters were joking that we wish that there was a magic wand and we could just fund all of our projects because they're all so wonderful. And I have no doubt they'll be really great assets to the community. Our proposal is for a location called the Hub that some of you may have heard us announce. And our proposal will be using the money for a direct to community solution that will quickly provide high quality care, as well as having a wider impact on the community as a whole. A little bit about us. Cortland Collective Impact Initiatives provides high quality, low cost to free enrichment programs to the community, particularly youth. Our programs are adapted to meet the needs of every single student, both helping them and supporting them in their challenges, but also nurturing their talents. We are community responsive by bringing funding and skill sets to help the community build what they want to see. So collective is in our name, and that's the idea of how we work. Our enrichment programs are built collectively as a community. We are currently developing a warehouse on Route 11 between Cortland and Homer. It's the old Cook Brothers building near Sweeney's Pest Control, across from the future site of the River Walk, if you have driven past there recently. And this will be a community space, and it will include classrooms, a recreation space, and then a large flexible space for gathering, and that will include a teaching kitchen in that space as well. Our goal is to open the space this winter, and that's what we've been working towards, not least because our organization recently adopted the Toys for Tots program. So this money would help take us to the finish line to open before the holidays. We were able in our proposal to address both areas of greatest need that were identified in the community forums that took place as part of this process. And we'll be both providing high quality, inclusive, and enriching programming for school-age children, but we are also going to invest directly in increasing capacity for infant care. So the first focus area, we already manage high quality programming that builds confidence and life skills and includes kids who are not able to access other daycare programs. With this grant, we would expand our summer, winter, and spring programming by another 25 slots each, and our planned after-school programming that was funded by a grant from United Way of Cortland County by another 15 slots for a total of approximately 40 after-school places. In addition to providing science, sports, music, cooking, theater, and arts enrichment through these programs, we'd also provide individualized tutoring and group sessions in math and English that are designed for the kids to not even realize they're learning because they're having so much fun. We will also be offering daytime programming during school hours for students who are in alternative education arrangements, but whose parents still work. As for the second focus area, while we ourselves don't provide infant care, we do already support home-based businesses, and we already have the resources and plans in place at the hub to provide support such as internet access, photocopier, and business support for childcare providers. But when we ask the community about infant care in particular and what's difficult about that, what they told us was it wasn't that they were aware of in-home infant care and that they could start doing that, or that they didn't have the training. It was overcoming the barriers to actually meeting the requirements to become a child care provider. And that includes the cost of the modifications that you might have to make as well. So as part of this grant, we are going to be reallocating some of the money to community partners. We know that people like the Child Development Center are experts in this and they can help people. So we want to make sure some of that money goes to regrant to help them support people be able to meet those requirements. And in addition, we would establish a micro grant fund that would go directly to community members. So when you've worked with the Child Development Center or other community members to find out what you need to become a home care provider, you bring us that list and you say, I need a baby gate or locks on my stove or a lock on my window. And we can provide you as a community member looking to start infant care with a grant to be able to pay for those things so that you can overcome that barrier of cost to be able to become a provider. Whoops. So both aspects of our program put this money back straight into the hands of the community in a way that's flexible and responsive to community need. With our micro grant program, community members can access that money so we can directly and quickly increase in-home infant care. And with the programs that we provide for school age programming, we can do individualized programming with direct community feedback. So is it fall and your kid wants to be outside exploring nature? We can do that week. Maybe in the winter, piano lessons are the things that our community would really like to have. Our breadth and scope allows us to offer that individualized, flexible care. Money invested in the hub for equipment and facility updates to get us up to being able to have the capacity for that child programming will also benefit not just the families in our programs, but also give us the ability to open the hub to the public in just a few months. And programming there will be for adults, for families. There will be intergenerational programming, and it'll be open to all community members. So with regards to this grant in particular, the impact we're looking at with our current places and the increase that we would be able to have through this would be 225 student places for programming. And that's talking about increasing our summer program by 25 slots, 225 place each vacation camps, increasing our after school programming, and the grants to be able to allow infant care to happen in our community as well. Why us? We love all these programs, all these projects, and we hope they all get funded. But we believe that at the heart of this particular funding is community-led and responsive intent. And our organization's motto is for the community, by the community. And we believe that we are that we're best situated to continue the community being a direct partner in this funding. So the community will continue to have input in how the money is spent. And it will go directly to helping develop those places quickly and effectively. And because our hub project is so far along, this funding is going to get us across the finish line so that we can open as soon as December. And it will also develop a space for everyone in the community, not just our families who are impacted, but also everyone else who is welcome into that community space. Most of all, what it's about to me is the individual kids. Everything that we do is led by community members, but our biggest impact is on each individual person. And I know that if we receive this funding, we can continue to make kids' dreams come true to play violin or give them a program that they wish, as Daniel said, was all year round. Then we can help make that possible through this funding. Thank you very much.
Excellent. Thank you, Bryn. We've got a few questions. One clarification. You had mentioned the Child Development Center. Did you mean Child Development Council?
Yes, I probably had, yes, the Child
Okay.
Development Council. That was my, sorry.
Thank you.
But we love Bob's idea too. If it's a two, we'll
Got
partner
it.
with
Thank
you
you.
too, Bob.
Okay. A couple comments around staffing. So I know CCII uses a lot of volunteers. What is your staffing plan for the hub and this specific project? And maybe a staff expansion too.
Yes. So this would allow us to hire a staff member to oversee the after school program. We already have extensive staffing in place for our vacation programs. And that includes being able to expand into summer and winter. Although we do use volunteers for a lot of our behind the scenes work, our staff for our children's programs themselves follow all of the childcare regulations. So they are background checked, they are qualified. Many of them are teachers or special educators, therapists, who really have that expertise to be able to offer that. We already, as I said, received a grant from United Way to be able to bring in, for example, SUNY Cortland students to help run the after school program. But what we don't have is a coordinator for that program. So part of this would go to someone who's coordinating just those after school hours to be able to make sure that they are up to our rigorous standards that we offer the rest of our programming as well.
Thank you. Can you touch on what the funds would cover in terms of completing the hub project?
Sure. So very minimal in terms of going into the hub. Let me just get my spreadsheet up here so I'm telling you correctly. So we have been working with the code folks and the people at the county and the village, because this building is just barely in the village by one building. You wouldn't believe it when you pass it, but it is. And to make sure that we are meeting all the daycare requirements. And really the only thing that the building needs in order to open to having our children's programming there is more toilets. And so we have in that funding, we have $10,000 to add more toilets and to get them up to ADA standard. And that is the only stuff for, work on the hub that we are doing for that. Other than that, obviously, when we're running the school programs, we need equipment, we need supplies. So there is funding for that as well. That's all going to be directly used by the kids who are going there, and will also be accessible to our daytime programs, to our other community members. I know we have some folks who are in transitional housing who are really excited about getting into that space for the art club that they started with us, and they're looking for a permanent home for that. So, those kind of programs would be able to happen there too, through that.
Great. I have just one last question. Will you have slots for childcare during the day for parents to work? And I think it's school age or not school age children, I think is specifically.
Yeah, so our daytime slots are focusing on school-age children, and that is in partnership with other organizations like Forest Learning Collective, who are going to actually be offering programming in our space in cooperation with us, because we know that there are a lot of homeschoolers or alternatively schooled kids who need that daytime programming. In terms of preschool and younger, we really want to focus that money on people who are already doing that work and providers who are looking to do in-home care, because that can get up and running quickly and effectively. And when we spoke to the community, especially infant care, which is the big one that people are really struggling with, we were told that it's also the most cost effective just because of the adult to child ratio that's required for those really young ages. Opening a big center where you can only have a handful of infants in each room is a lot less. The money goes a lot further, helping people be able to open safe, qualified, and high quality in-home childcare. And so that's where we'd like to reinvest that.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Any last call for questions in the chat? Seeing none, I will welcome
Thank you.
Ilya. Thanks, Bryn. All right, Ilya with Lime Hollow Nature Center.
All right, let's do this. Can everybody see my screen?
Yep.
Awesome. Man, I really need 4 votes to do this. My name is Ilya Schmolenson. I'm the executive director at the Lime Hollow Nature Center. Many of you know us as the place to go hike, to send your kids to camp, to send your kids to after school, and we are all of that. Here's a short list of why we do what we do. We as humans know that intrinsically time spent outside is good for our physical health as well as our mental health. And we know that nature presents us with opportunities to problem solve, to feel connected, to be creative. We also know that no matter how much we think we've mastered the planet, that we rely on it for the air that we breathe, the water that we drink, and the food that it produces. And more, we know that play is not for nothing. It hones our gross and fine motor skills, builds imagination, and creates unique solutions to problems. Forces us to be cooperative, to be kind and helpful, and to interact with one another. And yet, more and more, we're designing programs which limit outdoor time, use individualized curricula, and all of this is done on some form of digital media. Kids today spend an average of 4 to 7 minutes a day, in unstructured play, while spending over 7 hours on a phone, a tablet, or a smartboard inside of their schools, inside of their childcare facilities. And this has been actually a trend for about 2 generations. With people in their 30s, their 40s, their 50s, not comfortable in outdoor spaces, nor able to connect with nature, which provides us life. And these folks are the teachers. These folks are the teachers that teach little kids, teach our children. And so this proposal is really about making sure that kids have more access to the outdoors, that people who are responsible for childcare have opportunities to reconnect and be able to bring the outdoors into their environments, wherever they are, wherever they're providing childcare. So the Lime Hollow Nature Center has a 30-year history of providing cradle to elder outdoor experiences, from forest babies to preschool to summer camp and school break camps to teen programs. The youth that come through these programs become our staff. Their parents and grandparents, teachers and neighbors participate in programming as adults. Everyone access trails year round, and those trails are free of charge. And we've built this place to value accessibility as people age and need to continue the outdoors for all the reasons we just mentioned. So we all know that childcare is a vital need in our community. And with the support of this funding, Lime Hollow will build on what it is already good at. We will extend access to after-school childcare for school-age children by providing transportation to select Cortland County schools. We currently have a partnership with the Dryden School District to provide busing. And we know that the number one issue for after-school care is transportation. Recently, we had to inform the Homer School District that we wouldn't be providing our van transportation to them so that we can create more consistent after-school care for the Cortland School District. We also are seeking to expand access to childcare in our 3 to 5-year-olds in our state licensed forest preschool program for low-income and working families, as well as provide year-long professional development in nature pedagogy and skills development for childcare providers who live and work in Cortland County. So how are we going to do all this? Let's take a look at our after-school program. So our after-school program serves children 5 to 12, primarily in 3 different school districts: the Dryden School District, the Cortland School District, and the Homer School District. The students within the Cortland and Homer School District are Cortland County residents, which this grant would apply to. So we're seeking to purchase an additional 6 to 12 passenger van. We already have a 6-passenger van, which we provide transportation for. And like I mentioned, this coming year, we had to let the Homer School District know that we would not be providing transportation to them, so we can provide more consistent transportation to Cortland. So we can fill those spots immediately. We know that if we bought the van next week, that by the start of the school year, that van will be full of children who are seeking aftercare. And this investment in the van allows us to create childcare spots 7 to 10 years down the line. The value of that, the lifetime of that van, and the initial investment in the van comes back in terms of the tuition that children pay to access that childcare program. So staffing needs, maintenance fees, et cetera, are completely covered by tuition, and this upfront cost seeds that. We would be able to actually open up additional opportunities for additional wraparound services for things like our summer and our school break camps. We currently don't provide transportation to those camps, but with 2 vans and about 18 to 20 spots in each van, we'd be able to provide transportation to those weeks of care. So if a parent is working in Homer, they need to get their child to Lime Hollow, a van would come and pick them up and then bring them back to a designated location. The Forest Preschool is the leader in outdoor education, not just across New York State, but is starting to be a leader around the country. Many of you may have noticed the article in the Cortland Standard where we hosted an organization called the Association of Nature-Based Education, teaching educators how it is that we run this program. But the childcare model, and others have noted this, is a fraught one. The budgeting for the childcare model is a fraught one. We currently accept 8 students that receive DSS care. 3 of those students are from Cortland County. The others are from Tompkins County and Cayuga County. Cortland County only reimburses Lime Hollow 67% of the tuition that it costs to actually the rate of the tuition. So the difference is lost. So when a parent can't pay that difference, Lime Hollow has to either pay for it out of scholarship funds, or we need to seek it elsewhere. And for a small childcare provider, and any childcare provider can tell you this, with such small margins, that gap is enormous to make up. And so what we're seeking is to utilize this grant opportunity to continue to support our families who receive DSS funding, and also families or working families who don't qualify for DSS funding. So we believe that through this grant opportunity, we will create another 3 spots for kids who do receive DSS funding, and also another for part week or full week spots for working families who do not. Also, this type of education is, we use the motto that there's no bad weather, just bad clothing. And clothing for kids outgrow clothing very, very quickly, and staff need to feel very, very comfortable being outdoors in the elements to be able to take care of the children. And so a portion of this funding would go to allow us to buy snow pants, rain pants, boots, etc., so that families who can't afford it, don't have to. And finally, this is a really exciting opportunity for us. So in the participatory budgeting phase, one of the things that was identified was not just additional childcare spots, but professional development for people to be able to connect to nature. And so that is what Lime Hollow does. And Lime Hollow already has a program called the Adult Natch Series. And we're looking to introduce an additional program called the Ecology of Care classes, which is essentially a forest day for practitioners. So any childcare provider who lives or works in Cortland County will be able to access these classes free of charge. We believe we'll reach 10 to 30 providers. And what we see is when we create a space where adults, providers, are able to be kids themselves, learn these skills, they then take it to their individual child care centers. So whether that's an in-home child care center or a facility, we really feel like this opportunity will be able to teach that generation of people who did not grow up in the outdoors, who are also disconnected, all of these things that we know nature brings inherently. So topics include things like fire, whittling, tracking, basket making, sensory awareness, ecological literacy, nature connection, co-regulation, reflection, and how to translate all of that to applied childcare practice. We do this every day with our teachers and our students, and we're really looking forward to being able to amplify that reach and make it go to the community. So in
Thanks,
summary,
Ilya. Oh, you're wrapping up. Thank you.
That's great. That was my summary. Follow the benefits.
Thanks so much, Ilya. We have a few questions. I'm wondering, Ilya, if you could talk a little bit about the capacity. How would this grant help address staff capacity to provide more spaces?
Sure. So in the after school program, our program is already staffed for up to 30 kids. The issue is getting those kids here. And we know that there's demand from Cortland County schools and parents to get kids here. The issue is transportation. So the staffing is not a stress for us. And in terms of the adult programming, we are already running the Adult Naturalist series. This opportunity would allow practitioners to access that without any additional staffing needs. And then we would hire an outside contractor to help us run some of our adult day programs. But again, that's pretty minimal.
Thanks. We had a question about how does this impact the need for infant care?
As Bryn mentioned, infant care is incredibly difficult because of the margins, because of the ratios that OCFS creates. So where the impact of this would be on infant care would be on the practitioners becoming more comfortable in outdoor spaces and allowing that practice to be introduced in their in-home practices or in their individual facilities.
All right. Well, I think those are the main questions. Thank you so much, Ilya. It was great to hear from you. Does anybody, any last minute questions before we move to our last presentation? All right. And last but not least, we have Gina.
All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Gina. I am the branch manager at the Cortland County Family YMCA. Bloop, bloop, bloop. Please let me know if you can see my presentation. Are we good? Okay.
It's coming.
Oh, I live in
There you
rural
go.
Dryden, so I have incredibly slow internet. So I will also
I
be
can see
talking
it now.
very slowly. Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
All right. So at the Cortland County Family YMCA, we have approached this grant threefold. We are calling it More Room to Bloom, bridging the gap in childcare availability in Cortland County. I need to minimize myself. All right, excellent. So what is More Room to Bloom? We'd like to start by expanding school-age childcare in Cortland County to 3 additional schools. That includes Barry, Cincinnatus, and Appleby and Marathon. So instead of having to worry about the school districts to bus children to us, we will actually be branching out into the districts around the county. By doing that, it would also free up some of the space that we have at the Y to create additional early childcare spaces in Cortland County, including infant, toddler, and preschool care. And the kind of rounding out the trifecta of how we see this working is offering training on site, both in the way of actual training classes and informational sessions for those in Cortland County who are interested in starting in-home daycare, which by being a legally exempt family childcare center, family members could actually be getting paid to watch young children. And this does target that really big infant gap. As everyone has mentioned, that OCFS ratio is 2 to 1. So one provider is maxed out at 2 infants, which is why we do find that Cortland County is in such a large childcare desert. Touching base on our school age childcare, at the Cortland YMCA, we did recently just get our official OCFS New York State license for 70 on-site before and after school children. So that targets the grades K through 6 in Cortland County. By September of 2025, we officially opened with that. By February, we were maxed out at 70. So starting in February, I began reaching out to Barry, Cincinnatus, and Appleby, along with McGraw. Things aren't really moving with McGraw, but we are looking at the potential of 70 more K through 6 spots at Barry Primary, right in Cortland, less than a mile away from the Y. 70 more spots in Cincinnatus, which this will actually be the first time in anybody's history at Cincinnatus that they remember of having on-site childcare provided at the district. And then also with Appleby, we would be able to accommodate an additional 60 K through 6 spots at Appleby. So that rounds us out to well over 100 more safe, inclusive childcare spots throughout the county. As I had said, right now in the YMCA, we are licensed for 40 after school children. That's occupying 2 of the classrooms that we do have downstairs. We have an additional classroom right now that is not licensed. In our classrooms, we have the bathrooms, the toilets, the sinks. We also have a full-sized kitchen that we're able to use to provide snack for our before and after school kids. And that is where our summer camp is housed. This summer, we do have 40 school aged children in our summer camp. By expanding to Barry, we would be able to take one of those classrooms in our school age care and turn it into an infant room once it gets relicensed and approved by OCFS and the state, which would actually expand on-site care at the Y to include an infant toddler room, a preschool room, and a school age room. So on-site at the Y, we would be looking at being able to offer care all the way from an infant up to a sixth grader. Moving on with our on-site early childcare, additionally, as I had mentioned, we would like to have those informational sessions and training and support for those interested in opening up in-home OCFS daycare facilities. Part of being an OCFS training provider in New York State requires 15 training hours every 6 months and an additional training hours every 2 years. By having monthly training and support on site at the Y, those in-home daycare providers would have the opportunity to get that training that they need required by the state. And we would also have professionals in helping to guide people through the paperwork process of what it takes to actually open up, put people in touch with licensors who can come out and do the inspections and make sure that their in-home sites are ready and safe to be opened up, which would also touch on the rural areas of Cortland County to continue to expand our childcare throughout the county. The timeline that we are currently looking at, while this grant was due, we got final inspection notices for both operating on site at Barry and Cincinnatus. Our applications have been approved and pushed through all the way up to the state for approval pending our inspections, which are taking place next Friday, August 28th, which actually lines up with the potential to be operating both at Barry and Cincinnatus on the first day of school, which automatically could open up 140 school-age childcare spots in Cortland County in less than a month. Once we have Barry open and ready to go, we will be able to begin working with OCFS to come in and inspect and start letting us know what we have to do for the licensing, once again, for the toddler and infant rooms on site at the Y. And once we have everything else up and running at Barry and Cincinnatus and our on-site early childhood going, childcare going, we will also hope, end goal is to find some trainers to come in and start offering that training and support for in-home daycare centers so that they can get the support they need to begin their licensing projects and their inspections to hopefully have their in-home centers up and running by summer of 2027. So our timeline is, with all things, hopefully by the summer of 2027. Since we are a YMCA, we also get additional support in like financial support from other agencies. The United Way of Cortland County we're a partner project with them. They have donated and given us grants to help offset the cost of childcare in our facility. For the 2025-2026 school year alone, we did offer $35,000 in financial support, anywhere from 10 to 90% off that monthly before and after school tuition for families, caregivers, and children to be on site for our before and after school care. Because we are at the YMCA and we are in Cortland County, we are able to have buses to us and from us for all 3 Cortland elementary and middle schools, and also Truxton has bused students to us before as well. Starting in this summer of 2026, we also redid our Child Watch room. And for the first time since before COVID, we are now offering expanded Child Watch times, Monday through Friday. That is from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m., offering drop-in childcare for members for free and non-members. So anybody in the community can pay $10 an hour to drop off infants from 3 months of age all the way to 9 years of age to have that Child Watch time. You can leave the facility. You do not have to be on site to utilize that care. It also is in the afternoon from 3 to 7, Monday through Thursday, 3 to 6 on Friday, as well as Saturday morning. And we will be expanding that to Sundays once our summer hours expand back up to our regular hours during the rest of the year in September. Here is the budget breakdown. By doing 3 on sites, we would need 3 people to go through the OCFS site director training, which is around $750 per person. We would also need CPR and first aid training for all of our staff, both on site at the Y for early childhood and on site at the before and after schools. Because we are branching off into 3 more schools, we have a fair amount of supplies that we would need to purchase. This includes items for kitchens in one area, one school. It would actually be a refrigerator and a stove, cubbies for the kids' belongings on site. It would be changing tables, pack and plays, infant toys, educational items for all of our sites. And we have also allotted $5,000 to bring in a trainer to help with those interested in starting that in-home childcare. Along with sticking with what we like to do best at the Y, it's having no boundaries. $22,500 plus would go towards financial support for families for infant, child, and toddler care in the YMCA, and of course for those 3 school age offsite programs. I want to end with why the YMCA. The mission of the Cortland County Family YMCA is to empower young people and communities worldwide to build a just, sustainable, equitable, and inclusive world where every person can thrive in body, mind, and spirit through the principles of youth development, healthy living, and social responsibility. Those last 3 lines are Y National tagline. The YMCA has been involved in youth development since the foundation of the YMCA. And along with what everyone else has said, offering expanded childcare to Cortland County, especially in the area of in-home, is twofold. It creates more jobs in the facility and it sets children up to be more successful as well. I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing. I hope I did not talk too fast, as I have a tendency to do so.
You
But
were
that's what I
great.
got.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks, Gina. We have a few clarifying questions. Could you talk a little bit about the staffing and how you would hire folks and how many people you would need for both early
Yes.
childcare and after school?
Yes. So after school OCFS ratios are 10 to 1. So, at Cincinnatus and Barry, we would need a minimum of 7 staff plus our on-site coordinator. We already have on-site coordinator positions posted on Indeed for Barry and Cincinnatus, along with additional counselors. Once you get background checked and licensed through the state, you would be able to have that fingerprint waiver so that we could share our staff resources between the YMCA, Cincinnatus Barry, and once we get Marathon up and running there as well. And the same would go with that early childhood, as I said, 2 to 1 ratio. So, once we get the ball moving on that, we will also have more staff on site who have that supervised, that background training, the infant training, and we would be able to utilize staff both in our child watch and in our early childhood in the on site at the facility.
Thank you. Could you elaborate a little bit on what support would be offered to legally exempt providers?
Yes, absolutely. So we're looking at bringing people in from OCFS who would actually provide informational sessions on the paperwork, what it takes to submit on behalf to get that going, what you need to have in your house, your square footage, how many you can take based on your square footage, what your staffing would need to look like, your ratios, your training. Like we always say New York State is a bunch of red tape, and bring in people who know that firsthand, who can help you navigate it. I mean, a lot of people have that dream of opening up, I've got this young kid, I want to do this, I want to stay home with my kid, but gosh, the state makes this so hard. So having somebody come in from the state to actually be essentially that handholder to get people up and running for what they need to make their dreams come true.
Great, thank you. And I know you mentioned the schools, but could you talk about maybe some other community partners that you work with to deliver this kind of programming?
All right. So obviously, as everyone has said out here, the Child Development Council, they're our go-to in Cortland and Tompkins County for this. We're very fortunate in these two counties to actually have county specific. And because we are school age in Cortland County, we actually also work with the main branch of OCFS up in Syracuse. So we would be working with that entity coming down. I know that's not in our county. And as other people have said, we also work quite a bit with SUNY Cortland's Early Child Care Center, not necessarily their center, sorry, but they're a program. We get a lot of their students that come over, do internships with us, and we would continue to branch that out, especially Barry. Barry is a hop, skip, and a jump. Like Barry, those kids can come over when they're doing their community service hours to teach programs with our kids and whatnot. So, we have a lot of resources in Cortland County, and bring them out into our programs helps.
Wonderful. I think that was kind of it for questions in the chat.
No. Wait,
Oh,
sorry.
just kidding. Sorry.
Yeah,
Thanks,
there's
Anna.
just one that I think is directed towards you from Anne. It says, do you have any other funding sources
Oh.
to support these proposals? Yeah.
We, at the time, unfortunately do not. We had applied for the New York State Childhood Capital Campaign Grant, which we did not get. So we are back to the drawing board, unfortunately.
Thank you, Gina. I'm not sure. I think Anne might have meant for CNYCF. Do we have funding to support the other proposals? I don't know, Anne, if that's what you meant. Just say yes in the chat, but I know Kate can speak to that.
So yes and no, right? I think is kind of the long and short of it without any further clarification from Anne. We do the Community Foundation in the spring round, which opens up in December and closes in early 2027. That does focus on education and wraparound services. This grant round for the community grants addresses human services, workforce development, and economic development, of which we all know this is, if Amy Buggs was here, she'd be pleased. This is part of the stool, right? Like we need childcare to have workforce. So we do have funding in the Community Foundation, community grants. We do support capital projects. But because the participatory budgeting is a centennial celebration for the foundation, this is a way that we really wanted the community to have a voice in where this money goes. So I guess that was kind of a long-winded answer to your question, Anne. All right, I've got one last slide and then then we can go on with our evenings. Can you all see that? So after hearing from these 4 local organizations, they're all incredible and we all have a lot of work to do to get out the vote and figure out who to vote for tomorrow night. We would love to see you in person in Homer at the Center for the Arts. Food is provided. Entertainment will be provided by local youth musicians. And you don't have to stay. You could just come in, cast your vote, grab a snack and head out. You could vote from home. You can, or you can come for the whole evening and meet, engage with the community members, engage with the Community Foundation. We'll be there. Either way, we'd love to see you. You can scan the QR code on your screen, or Paris dropped a link in the chat. So you can click and sign up that way. But we'd love to see you. Tell your friends, tell your neighbors, look on social media tomorrow for some information. And I'm just really grateful for all of your work and so thankful to have you here this evening. Thank you so much. Bye, everyone. Have a good night. And we'll see you tomorrow.